But at the end of the day, not everyone in Spurs history is a truly notable figure. Some of the guys have just been here for a short time, not a long time, but for a good time. And that's the story of Tom Copa, from ski bum to Spurs player. How the hell did he do it? And I'm not using the term ski bum to be overly disrespectful. That's legitimately his own words. He wanted to be a ski bum after his 4 years at Marquette, and he felt like that truly didn't work out the way he wanted it to. He put up about 8 points a game, 5 rebounds, was a solid rotational big, but really didn't stand out the way he wanted to.
I was done with basketball when I left Marquette. I was fed up with it. I was very disappointed in how my college career went and just didn't enjoy the game. I just didn't want to play anymore. So I didn't. And that's when I moved out to Vail. At the time, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go out there and become a ski bum and just get out of here.
And ultimately, this led him to just kind of saying, fuck basketball. I don't want to play anymore. I'm just going to move to Vail, Colorado and be a ski bum, literally just counting himself out entirely. And I don't mean to talk about Tom in a way that he wasn't a good player, because he did have a 4-year career overseas in Belgium where he averaged over 20 points a game on good efficiency. So it's not like he was a scrub or a bum, so to speak.
The way that the Spurs found me was my wife became pregnant with our oldest son, my third season in Belgium. We had planned on spending the summer in Milwaukee. Do you still want to go back to Milwaukee? And she said, no, I'd kind of like to be near my mother when I have the baby. And I said, well, that makes sense to me. And her mom and dad had just relocated to Austin, Texas. And so we came down and spent the summer in Austin.
And so his family moved all the way from Bruges to Austin, Texas. And it was this decision that brought them closer to San Antonio Spurs life. And actually hearing the story about how he reached out to various teams is wild. I'm going to let Tom say it himself.
My father-in-law actually asked me if he could write letters to the NBA teams in Texas and let them know I'm in town. You go ahead and write a letter, but that's not how it really works. And so he ended up writing a letter and letting them know. He put together a little resume with my collegiate statistics, my Belgian statistics, a picture, and sent it off to the Spurs, the Rockets, and the Mavs.
But thankfully, he did reach out, because this was good enough to land him a spot on that 91-92 roster. And it wasn't like he was an integral piece to what the Spurs were doing in the 91-92 season. He only played 4 minutes a game and only played in 33 of those games. So he wasn't a huge piece, but he sent a message and said that if you work hard enough, even though you've considered yourself completely down and out, you can still make your dreams happen. And I think that's an important story.
And after the black and silver game, Bob Bass came up and said, hey, we'd like you to come to fall camp. Are you open to that? And I'm like, you bet. And so Molly and I and our newborn son moved down to San Antonio.
But why was Tom Copa brought into the Spurs in the early 90s? Why was he brought in for those 33 games? He's an absolute force when you're trying to block him out, and you absolutely need those kind of guys when you're practicing, because those are the guys that make you tougher, period. And Coach Popovich said it himself, that he was a good example, would show up to work every day and acted serious, and other guys responded to that. But one of the funny stories I read about Tom Copa was that Greg Popovich said in a scrimmage in practice that, you're doing great. You're boxing out wonderfully. Now all you need to do is actually go get the rebound. And in the following scrimmage, Tom Copa grabbed 14 rebounds. So even in Greg Popovich's early days when he wasn't the head coach, he was still able to provide some insight and help his players in that way. And of course, as we discussed earlier, he didn't last long in San Antonio. Those 33 games were up like that. And he was back to playing basketball elsewhere. He went and played in Italy, but that was very short-lived. His career was done by age 29. But it's not really a sad story, because he is the VP of a billion-dollar tech company and is making way more money now than he ever did in the NBA, which, looking at the contracts nowadays, seems crazy to say. But I think this story is very relatable, because there's times within our lives where we tend to count ourselves out. We look at ourselves as incapable of certain things. And even if it takes a lot of effort and a lot of work to get to that mountaintop, it's still achievable. It can still happen. And Tom Copa, even though he was on the Spurs for 33 games, it didn't last long. He is an NBA player. He was a member of the San Antonio Spurs, and you can't take that away from him.